So thank you for an apt introduction. I think we covered everything from gingerbread to Apple iPhone to mobile technologies. Didn't miss a beat there. So before I start on social media and healthcare, which is my topic to speak on, I want to tell about a conversation I had with a gentleman with who I shared a flight when I was coming from Delhi to Ahmedabad. This person is trying to automate his practices in hospital, and he asked me, how will automation benefit me? I said, what do you want to do? He said, everything. I was perplexed. My answer was, nothing. It will not help you with anything. The reason is, unless we know what the target population is, unless we know what we want to do, we will confuse ourselves and end up achieving nothing. So with that context, when I started preparing this presentation or started thinking about what I'm going to talk, I wanted to make sure that we set a good context in terms of social media, what it is, how we can use social media, because as cloud computing, as telemedicine, social media is a very heavily or loosely used word. You are the best judge to decide that. So where does it fit in? Will it help make people live better lives? Will it help solve healthcare problems? Will it help doctors to deliver effective medicine? The answer lies in we have to dwell and see and understand what's in social media. So with that I start. Just a study done by WHO. Today India has around 31 plus million population impacted by diabetes. We are known as a nation of young people today. In 2030 we'll have around 79 million people impacted by diabetes. Do we want to be known as nation of people impacted with diabetes? The way we live, the way our lifestyle has become, sitting on chairs all day in office, going back, sitting, in I can, if our nation is gonna diabetic and hypertensive nation. Do we want to be known as that? Today, some stuff is being done for chronic disease management. So the model essentially is one-to-one. Patient goes to doctor delivers care, patient comes back, and the medication continues for years, because we're talking about chronic diseases. What are the limitations? So limitations are, it's unidirectional. Patient has to go to doctor. The identification process is not there. It's not scalable. I told like 79 people being impacted. Is it feasible for 79 people to go to doctors and doctor to serve them? In a country like India, where already doctor to patient ratio is such bad. In chronic diseases, when we know it's gonna be for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, right now historical information is not being used. That's a limitation I see. And patient is not empowered, as Dr. Sood was saying. Patient doesn't have information to participate in decision making. What if I don't like certain lifestyle? What if my disease is because of certain lifestyle? I don't know that. Someone needs to tell me, right? What if the medication is not the right way to treat it? Someone needs to tell the patient and take patient into confidence that yes, this is the right way to do. So with that, we'll see that in next few years there's going to be a shift in how chronic disease are treated. It has to be a centralized data management system for chronic diseases as well, as we were talking about hospital management systems or EHRs or anything. So we have talked a lot about data-driven and analytics. I want to focus on this point, drive behavioral changes, because I hope I have made a point that chronic diseases are primarily driven because of our lifestyle. So, am I used to sitting in office for 10 years, 10 days 10 hours in a day? At age of 30, someone is identifies as pre-diabetic. In next 2 years, the status is gonna change to diabetic. Next 5 years, he's gonna have cholesterol problems. Next 5 years, he's gonna have something else. Mind you, I'm not a doctor to know all that, and that happens for facts. Provide the path. So today, you need to do this. 2 years from now, you need to do this, so that patient can take that data with him and understand, if I don't do anything, in 10 to 15 years, the situation is gonna be bad for me. And provide support to help change behavior. Don't leave the person who has has been impacted with the chronic disease. Don't leave him in limbo. provide continuous support. That, how does new technologies come in? There is social media, I talked about it, it's very hyped. There is mobile technology, which Dr. Sood talked about. There are different communication mechanisms. So today, it's highlighted, I'm going to talk about social media and how it can help. I don't think we really need introduction for it, but so that we set a context. Social media, if Facebook were a country, it would have been third most populous, and then very soon it will beat China and India also. I'm glad that India will never be more populous than Facebook. Power of social media. Einstein said, anything that duplicates, anything that multiplies is the real wonder of the world. And social media works on that, as you can see. I can post something on YouTube, one of my friends comes to know about it, he'll post to multiple friends and it keeps growing. The flood will come. But how is it relevant to healthcare? Is it a gimmick? Is it something, a time pass? That I log on to net, I go to Facebook and say, hey friends, I'm doing this. They say, yes, I like it, or I don't like it. Or it can be as serious as something most critical in the world as healthcare. So to test that, I did a small thing yesterday night. I posted a message on two sites that I'm presenting on this forum, and give me ideas what I can talk about. And believe me, I got numerous replies, and almost 50% of the replies did make sense. They were coming from personal experience. So this could be used as the biggest innovation forum in the world. Post an idea, involve people, and develop on that. So what's being done on social media in global healthcare? I talked about YouTube. There is ZocDoc, Mayo Clinic, and this particular entity, it's a provider organization. They post the results of their operations, how they have gone, what has happened on the website. They invite the members, the patients, to come and participate and discuss with them. Patients like me, if someone, I talked about chronic disease, if someone is a cancer patient, they need a lot of emotional support. These are the communities that are available. People like them will be there, telling them about their experiences, telling about how you can cope up with the pressures. Google Plus, we were talking about telemedicine. It provides free facility for, I guess it's around 10 different entities can chat, video chat in one time. So it's available for free. WebMD, you can try and see, what symptoms you have, identify the path, and do self-medication also if you feel confident about it. LinkedIn, Wikipedia are on social media like we had on hospital management systems, like we had on how to improve automation. If we can have serious debate on this, it can help a lot. So in social media, it's all about sharing and participation. If someone is an introvert like me, I may not feel comfortable sharing my thoughts in a group. But when I'm in my living room, in front of my laptop, my identity changes. I can post anything on there, I can debate on anything, I can participate on anything, and I can be, the most extrovert person there. So that's the power of social media. One example I want to share that, let's say, I go to a new city and I need to go to a doctor. I don't know anyone there. So just think of an application if something like, a simple like, dislike meter is there, where every doctor, or most of the doctors, let's say they are given a like sign or a dislike sign based on a patient to doctor interaction, and I can see, okay, this doctor has 70% likes, this has 50% likes, so that means something is good with this doctor and I can go there confidently. Now, relating it to Indian healthcare, there are a lot of challenges. I wanted to talk about some which healthcare can help improve on, or it can act as a catalyst to help not completely solve, but make those challenges a bit better. Chronic disease I talked about, lack of consistent education, managing outreach during epidemics, lifestyle related diseases, and consistent information management. So what role does social media plays in chronic disease management? It's all written there, but I'll give you one example. So chronic diseases is a established fact that they are more lifestyle related diseases. Diabetes will not occur right away. It takes some time unless there is some severe problem, and once it happens, it will continue for a long time. So if we know it's a lifestyle related disease, why don't we do anything about it? Doctors smoke, right? A lot of doctors smoke. Why do they smoke? When they know it's a bad habit, right? So two reasons. One, they want to smoke, they will not leave. Second reason, they are not, getting enough support to leave that kind of thing. People are not getting enough support to live a healthy lifestyle. So can social media play a healthy role in that? Any guesses? It does? How, sir?
Like and dislike people will.
Yeah.
Will say about that.
Yes.
Certain people keep reminding you that thing.
Exactly. And I'm glad I got that answer. Simple example, just building onto that point. Every one of us, or let me be generic, politically correct, most of us would have gone to gym in some part of our life, right? But most of those would have dropped out. Why? Any guesses? Why do we go to gym and we stop doing exercise after a week or 2 weeks, apart from I don't want to wake up early? Any guesses? You lose interest, yes. Yes. So it's not the priority. But when you know, if you don't exercise after 30 years, you're going to be in a big problem. It has to be the first priority. Let's establish that. Someone needs to tell that person that yes, healthy lifestyle is important. Your point is absolutely correct, but education needs to happen. And to build on your point, you lose the trust. It becomes monotonous. How can social media help solve? Just think of a scenario where, let's say, there's an application where I can, make a closed group. By closed group, it means other people cannot view it. Let's say I invite Manish, Dr. Sood, and a couple of other friends, and I say, why don't we and I live, let's say, in Delhi, Manish lives in Bombay, Dr. Sood lives in Chandigarh, another person lives in Bombay or whatever part of the world. And I say, I challenge everyone, can you run 100 kilometers in 1 month? 90 days, can you run 100 kilometers? Whoever completes that first will get a movie ticket from me, will get whatever reward from me. So we start running. First day we run 1 kilometer, one. After 7 days, let's say only Manish runs, I don't run, Dr. Sood doesn't run. So Manish will say, what happened guys? I'm the only one running, you don't have, whatever way he'll motivate, whatever way I'll motivate. And we complete that particular exercise together in 3 months, and we complete it, we get into habit of it, we increase the group, people start coming in. And what is Facebook? That is what it is, right? It started with one person, now it is 750 million people. That's how you spread the message. So that's how it can help in lifestyle management.
But isn't it true that social media is actually being more of a physical activity with kids rather than going out to the
No, it's how you use it and how you perceive it.
Isn't it true? I mean, I don't have numbers in front
No, I'll tell you.
That's the PlayStation. All around me.
PlayStation is the most sedate activity, I would say. Video games, right? It is. Now Microsoft Xbox has come with a product called Kinect. You plug in, all the exercise that can happen in gym can happen in the home. So kids can play tennis like this. So there's a TV in front of you, all the kid is doing like this, so something is happening. So it's how you use it. There's evil and there's a good in everything. It's how we perceive it.
Social media, kids are still sitting with the laptop.
They're anyways going to sit.
No, but they could have gone out, interacted with their friends, rather than sitting online and interacting.
So tell me, with a mom telling the kid, go out and play, will that work? Or that group of friends telling, let's go out and play, will that work?
I mean, something works that we were where it doesn't work now.
When we were young, there was no social media. Video games were there, it was limited, but it's there. It's for us to how we use it. Enabling education using social media. So once you put Wikipedia, once you put the message there, it's for everyone to see. Facebook, you can have communities who are participating together in education. I'm helping someone, let's say, since I know Manish, I'll say Manish, I'll pick him for example again. He's having a bad time to cope up with some study course, and let's say I know about that. On social media we can interact. Let's say I live in US, he lives in India, not feasible to make phone calls every day or whatever time. We can leave a question for me on Facebook and I can reply, and a lot of stuff can work. One-to-one maybe not a good example, but in a group it's a good example. Communicate. And I was surprised, this first example, our government of India used YouTube to communicate during H1N1 scare. I was doing some research and I found it, and I was really surprised that our government is using YouTube for communication of communicable diseases, the epidemics that are there. So why can't we have more applications, more use of communicating using social media? NRHM is there, Indian Society of Healthcare Profession is there, Donate blood. Just another example is coming to my mind. Someone needs blood, makes a call to friend, hey, are you whatever, O positive or AB positive? He says no. He calls another friend, spends half an hour and finds no one. Put a message, it will spread out like fire in half an hour. I've seen that. And in half an hour there are thousands of replies, yes, I can come, I can come. That's how you can also use it. Someone took a copy and put it there. I think government. I can double check it. No. Me. I hope it's clearly visible. So, communities can come together for a better lifestyle. Wellness management, lifestyle change for urban India. I wanted to focus it on urban India and young population because a lot of rural India. I'm not saying we should not do more. My point is, we're talking about rural India when the challenge has already occurred. We don't know what to do. We are struggling, right? In 10 years from now, we're going to struggle in this space also. So we should start talking now, and I'm glad that we have this session here, and we have started the conversation on that, and maybe we can have a full conference focused on this if it makes sense. Hospitals can share vital health updates with communities. Doctors can motivate patients and interact with them. One doctor spending 5 minutes in a day posting one message in a community is a motivation for thousands of patients that yes, my doctor is caring about me. In US, apart from cost, what is the biggest challenge? Can anyone take a guess? We keep comparing with the US healthcare. I don't like that because that's a failed model. It's in a big debt. So what's the biggest challenge apart from cost?
I think the aging population, excessive use of technology, and the chronic disease management, and of course the litigious population. The acronym is SALT. The 5 things ailing the US healthcare system: spiraling cost, aging population, L is for litigious population, and the T is for the technology intensive healthcare.
Yes. And
these things sum up what's wrong with the US.
And you made my explanation very easy. If I have to summarize everything, because of these challenges, one thing has occurred that in healthcare, the care part has gone missing. It's only health. How do I deliver health? How do I consume health? How do I charge? How do I make more money? So care part has totally gone away. So with bringing these kind of features in, we can bring back the care part back into healthcare, which should be the most premium thing, not the cost, not the any other thing. So challenges in implementing social media. I skipped one of the biggest challenges we're going to face in implementing social media in healthcare by intention, because I wanted the audience to guess on that. One biggest challenge that we may face, I think that. Any guesses? No. These are the regular challenges that we face anywhere. So the biggest challenge is, I'll say that. I said earlier also, social media is viewed as a gimmick by a more serious healthcare practitioner, most often. So the challenge is going to be the acceptance. How do we accept social media into healthcare and make it viable for a doctor, for a patient, for a community, to everyone to accept? It should have a solid case for everyone, and everyone should say, yes, this is for me, irrespective of what it is to.